Hello, everybody. It's football here with John Montez, and today we are live again. Today we want to discuss about Arsenal performance today. Arsenal have just dropped points against Bournemouth. It's 2-1. Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 1. This was an unplanned loss for Arsenal, in my own opinion. I don't think Arsenal were planning to lose this. And we know Arsenal are having a big game coming up on Wednesday, and they also need to keep track on Premier League because things does not look well for them in Premier League. If they continue dropping points, the clubs behind them probably will finish them because currently, if you look at the table, it's not perfect. If you look at the table at the moment, things are not working for Arsenal. In my own opinion, things are not working for Arsenal. Look at where Man City is. Man City are already they're 3 points behind Manchester's. Manchester City 64, Arsenal 64, 67. That is only 3 points. If you look at Newcastle, they haven't played their game. If they win tomorrow, probably they will go 60, 64, 65. So the points, Manchester City and Arsenal are closing the gap between Arsenal and between Arsenal. So Arsenal must be careful. And this is something I want to talk about Arsenal really. What has gone to be something that should have been. This one was the season that we expected Arsenal to perform. This was the season that we expected Arsenal to be on top. This one was the season that we expected Arsenal to win the league. But what really happened to Arsenal? I think Arsenal went into the season focused without a focus. Because if Arsenal wanted to win this league, they could have won it. Look at now the performance that Arsenal have put. Look at the result. If Manchester City passes them, if Manchester City passes of the league, Arsenal will have finished the worst. Arsenal could have finished the worst place in the league. That one could be the bad season ever for Arsenal. Don't expect something from Champions League. Don't expect something from anything because we know Arsenal was supposed to win the league this season. That's what I'm trying to say. Arsenal was supposed to win the league this season. That is my honest opinion. But what happened? They really left it. They really left it. Now, they might even finish third if they're not careful. If Arsenal are not careful, they might even finish third and even finish fourth. Or they might not even get Champions League, but I don't think that one will happen in the remaining games. These other teams are playing each other, so I don't see Arsenal not qualified to Champions League. So that one I'm deleting. But there's a possibility that Manchester City might finish above Arsenal. There's a possibility because 3 points and remaining 3 games played Liverpool yet. Of course, Liverpool have already won the league. They have nothing to lose, even if Arsenal beats them or even if Arsenal take 3 points away from them. I know Arsenal are already remaining with 1 win to qualify to the next round. They are remaining with only 1 win to secure top 2, in my own opinion. But if Arsenal are not careful enough, Manchester City are going to pass them. In this game, I want to rate this one. Okay, there was some VAR decision that had to be made. I think it was a goal. The second goal, I think it was a goal. It doesn't appear. It doesn't appear like it was just an error, but I think it was a goal. So I don't think Arsenal can rely on that or say they lost the game because of the VAR like they usually do say. But I think Arsenal this season in Premier League, of course, we have to appreciate in Champions League where they have reached, but in Premier League, Arsenal this one was their season. If Arsenal could not win the league this season, they will never win any trophy. If they flop this one, they have flopped it. They have flopped it. We have to say it. Arsenal have flopped this season, and if they finish that, they deserve it. Of course, we can argue about the injury crisis that Arsenal are facing. They had a lot of injury crisis, by the way. Arsenal had a lot of crisis this season, which affected their season most. And if you look, by the way, they haven't lost a game. Most of their games were draw. And this one is, in my own opinion, this one was on Arsenal. This one was on Arsenal. Arsenal was supposed to win the league. I keep emphasizing this. This was their season to win the league. And this is something I told some people. And I want you guys to help me understand this. When a club goes into the when a club starts the season, they always have an expectation of winning something. What was the Arsenal expectation this season? What was Arsenal expecting to win this season? In my own opinion, I think Manchester City were trying to win the fifth Premier League in a row, but that one they knew it was impossible to do. So basically, their choice was let us go for Champions League or at least end up with a trophy. If you look for Arsenal, this one was their chance. This was their chance. This was the only chance Arsenal had to win something. This was the only chance Arsenal had to win Champions League. They were supposed to win Champions League, not Champions League, Premier League, in my own opinion, because I don't think Arsenal went this season expecting themselves to win Champions League, which, in my own opinion, I don't think they're going to win it because I don't think they're going to beat PSG. They're already one leg out, so they have to fight and come back for this coming week on Wednesday. So basically, what I'm trying to say, Arsenal lost focused. They focused too much on Champions League, leaving Premier League away, thinking that they can pull a surprising results in Champions League. That one could not have happened. In my own opinion, I think Arsenal went to this tournament, prepared for this season to win Premier League, because they knew Manchester City could not do it for the fifth time. Now they were prepared to win it, but they lost focus on it. And focused on Champions League. Of course, the knee played a part of it. Injury played part of this worst season they're experiencing now. But this is unacceptable. I don't know where Arsenal will finish next season. I don't know how Arsenal will perform next season. But this is surprising. If Manchester City passes them, I don't know. I don't know how Arsenal fans will explain for us that Manchester City, who in January they already defeated them with almost 15 points, comes and pass them. How can you even explain that? 3 points gap, that is close. I think Arsenal could have already qualified for Champions League long time ago. They could not have been struggling to even try to qualify for Champions League. That is why I say this season is the worst season ever for most of the team. I don't know. I still don't know how Arsenal have come to this position where they still, if Premier League was to produce top 4 only, I think Arsenal could have been worried. Because if Newcastle, let's say Nottingham Forest was a better team, or Nottingham Forest could already be how Nottingham Forest could have been in position too. And Arsenal could be fighting to get even Champions League slot. Man City were down. That is why Arsenal are where they are. If you look, Newcastle were down. That is why Arsenal are where they are. Chelsea were down. That is why Arsenal were well. Arsenal were not good enough to even be in second position this season. They play beautiful football, but the results are not coming out. Something needs to be changed because this one was their season up. If the way things are going, Arsenal might go trophyless. That is why I'm saying this is the worst season ever for Arsenal. Of course, they have gone trophyless in the other seasons, but this season specifically, this season will demotivate players next season. That one I can guarantee you. Players will be not demotivated next season because of this. They are going to go trophyless, that one is for sure. We cannot argue on that. Not unless a miracle happens, the biggest miracle happen in football, which is possible. They win Champions League. But as things goes now, Arsenal are going this season trophyless again. How will these players react for this next season? We have seen this in Arsenal. Some of these big names will leave. We'll see them next season. This is what happened to Akina Nasri. If you can remember Samir Nasri, the time they had Fabregas, Samir Nasri, they have Van Persie. They had stars. And those were the moment that we thought Arsenal could have won. But the players decided to leave to go and search for trophies in other clubs. And that is exactly the route I'm seeing Arsenal going next. And they're going back to factory setting if they're not careful. Arsenal are going back to the factory setting again and build the team from the back, or they build the team from down again. Because this team was already competing for the places. Now, look at the performance they put today against Bournemouth. Look at the table now and tell me this is a serious club who want to compete. Who are the title contenders? When did Liverpool won the league? Last week. And there was a time where Arsenal was just only 2 points away from Liverpool, and they thought they were going to win it. But here we are again, speaking about Arsenal losing it again. It doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't make sense. I think Arteta need to do, and this problem, in my own opinion, I think Arsenal created it for themselves. How will you go into a season without a striker? And you expect yourself to score goals, and you expect yourself to win trophies, and you expect yourself to win league. It doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't. I don't know which type of strategy was that. Summer transfer window comes, Arsenal does not buy a player. Uh, uh, January transfer window comes, Arsenal does not buy a player. What do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect? You knew Arsenal 2 seasons ago. Arsenal last season, they were only 2 points away from winning the title against Manchester City, blocking Manchester City to win their third in a row. The fourth in a row, I mean. Last season but one. I think it was a gap of, if I'm not wrong, if it was around 5.6 points. It was not a big gap. And that season we talked about Arsenal buying a striker. They didn't do it. Last season we talked about Arsenal should buy a striker. If they had a striker that last season, they could have easily won that league. They refused to buy a striker, and they thought they were good enough to compete. They thought they were Pep to win. Some of Arsenal fans were telling me, you know what, Pep won the league without. You are not Pep. Pep won the league without a striker. Oh, you are not, and that is, you are not Pep, and he saw worse things in that season. He won it. He won it, but he toiled to win it. That is why he brought in Haaland. Arsenal, they told us next season we are going to buy a striker. We waited for last season, they didn't buy a striker. This season, they knew very well, if you want to win a league, you have to have a lethal striker. They have money, they don't want to spend the money. How should we help Arsenal? How should they? The pain Arsenal team is causing for their fans is, these are their own problems. They know where the problem is, they know where the solution. If they had a striker, today's game, they could have won it easily. If Arsenal had a striker right now, we could be speaking of Arsenal winning the title. If Arsenal had a striker, PSG could not have beaten them. You see, there's some surprising way that sometimes Arsenal get. Then they think they're the best team in the world. They think they can win titles with those ingredients. If Real Madrid is one of the best teams in the world and still went for Mbappe as a striker, they cannot manage without a striker right now. Look the way Real Madrid is struggling without a striker. Barcelona now is performing because they have little striker. They didn't have a striker before, and they were now the way they're performing. There is no any team in the world that's win the title without a striker. Look at Liverpool, for example. Look at Liverpool, for example. There is, even if you have the worst one like Nunes, you still need a striker. You still need a striker. That is my opinion into this. I think Arsenal, the downfall of Arsenal, they have caused for themselves. They know where the problem is, and if they don't buy a striker again, because I've seen the person who they are linked with, which is Ole Watkins, is also linked with Chelsea. So will not surprise me if Ole Watkins goes to Chelsea. So basically, it's the same story. If they don't buy a striker next season, they will go again trophyless next. So next season also they have to be very good on how they keep their players. People will be interested in their players, and a lot of clubs have the project to try to attract Arsenal players. Some of these players will leave. It will not be a surprise. Let me see down on the comment section what you guys think about this. Arsenal downfall is really fans. It's really embarrassing to Arteta, especially when they are preparing. They needed a win today to prepare for the next game. Prepare for PSG, at least to boost the morale to that game that is possible to win it. But this is going to impact that game. They already, one leg is out of Champions League. You lose against Bournemouth. Manchester City is closing the gap. It's only 3 points away. What do? So you just leave that one and come and focus in the league. Arsenal will lose it. That is possible way how Arsenal can lose next week against PSG. Because they know very well one leg is out of Champions League. They know very well Manchester City is closing the gap. They know very well they need points to qualify for Champions League because teams are closing the gaps. Teams are closing in. It's just messy. It's just messy on Arsenal. I don't know what you guys think about this, but this is a downfall. This is something that Arsenal need to look out to. This is Arsenal need to reflect themselves. Go to next season with a focus. What are we going to win? This is how Manchester United is qualified for Champions League, by the way. Manchester United, for example, as we knew as fans that we cannot compete with Liverpool, we cannot compete with Manchester City, we cannot compete with the like of Arsenal. We go focus on one trophy. What is it? Either we win FA again or we win Europa League. What next? What do we do? Now we are in Europa quarter final. We are in Europa final. Already we are one leg is inside, another one is outside. So we are focus on one thing. This story of you want to focus on Premier League, you want to focus on FA, you want to focus on Champions League. When you drop Champions League, oh, we are focusing on Premier League. Oh, focus in one thing. That is what I'm trying to say. Arsenal next season, you need to focus in one. Arsenal have shown us that they can do it. So I don't see a problem of Arsenal not winning the league next season. Just make sure you focus. You know Champions League, you are not going to win next season again. You need Champions League, you are not going to win this season. Try to win the league next season, and that one should be the center of next season. I don't know what you guys think about this. That is my thought. Let me see down in the comment section. By the way, if you guys are not careful, Manchester United might win Champions League again next season to qualify for World Cup. Is it Team World Cup or whatever World Cup it is? Let me see down in the comment section what you guys think about this. Smash a like on the video. Don't forget to click that subscription button if you know you haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell so each and every time you produce a video like this, you automatically notified. To our subscribers, I want to say thank you so much for your continued support. Without you, this channel could not be able to reach where it is. Until we do the next one, enjoy. Until we do the next one, peace.